Indiana Hoosiers Live 52. Hollywood goes Bloomington. And who else to talk about the UCLA Bruins besides our own Bradley Loomis than Matt Zemek from UCLA Wire. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Who thought we'd be here, right? Who thought UCLA would draw enough interest to get on Fox Big Noon Saturday? Obviously, Indiana, with Kurt Signetti, the rock star, on course to achieve all 2025 goals. But UCLA being part of this, that is the wild card from nowhere.
Well, Brad, you are our Pasadena
resident. It's such a great story, and it's going to be an early one. I know my folks are going to be up early at 9 a.m. watching that one, so it's going to be exciting.
Well, I was going to say, Brad, you're the Pasadena resident. Matt, you cover the team. So, Matt, I'll start with you. You led with it. Nobody really thought we would be here after the start of the season. At the beginning of the season, what was the vibe around that team? Because from afar, it looked like they were going to be pretty talented.
Yeah, a bowl game was the expectation. And some of the people in the Los Angeles media were thinking, 8-4, that this is a manageable Big Ten schedule. If you get past Indiana and Ohio State, not those two games, but the rest of the Big Ten schedule was viewed by a lot of UCLA insiders as manageable. My goal, my personal thought was 6-6, just get to a bowl game. You just need to be playing in the postseason. You need to be getting those bowl practices, right? When a stagnant program needs to rise among the ranks, you need those 15 December practices, to develop players for the following season. That's how programs climb their way up the ladder. And so, that was the goal. And so, and it's really unfortunate from a UCLA perspective that 4-game start torched most likely aspirations of a bowl game, because right now UCLA is playing like a bowl team, beating the teams that it should beat in the Big Ten. And if you had Tim Skipper, Jerry Neuheisel, and Kevin Coyle for, I'm not going to say Utah, but certainly for UNLV, a team which, has given up 48 or more points the past 2 games, and also New Mexico, which has leveled off in recent weeks. If Skipper, Neuheisel, Coyle were around for those 2 games, UCLA is a 5-win team and is definitely going to make a bowl game. So it's just a shame that, it's a shame that Martin Jarman didn't, he didn't fire Chip Kelly right after 2023. I know this is kind of inside baseball, but this is why UCLA is in this position.
We're speaking Brad's language right now.
Martin Jarman did not fire Chip Kelly right after a bad season-ending 2023 loss to Cal, and he dithered, and that's what enabled Danton Lynn to go to USC. That enabled Lincoln Riley to poach Danton Lynn from UCLA, and everything was twisting in the wind. And then Martin Jarman they finally push out Chip Kelly too late, right? And then settle on Deshaun Foster, who had no previous experience as a coordinator or as a head coach. And you saw the results. You saw it, last year. You saw it last year when you played Indiana. When Indiana played UCLA, and then you saw it in the first 4 games this year. And, we might as well just get into the UCLA conversation a little bit. 99% of what we've seen from UCLA in terms of this 180-degree turnaround from that awful 0-4 start, 99% is effort. It's really not that much about scheme. It's really not that much about, finding some kind of X and O angle, although Tim Skipper's been really good on special teams. He just faked out James Franklin with an onside kick. He faked out Jonathan Smith of Michigan State with a fake punt. But it's 99% effort, because UCLA's offensive line was a piñata in September. They got dominated by Northwestern. And that was actually Skipper's first game. Skipper was just kind of inheriting his situation. He was stepping into it brand new. So obviously there was only so much Skipper could do, his first week, his first game on the job. But as soon as that Northwestern game ended, it's pretty clear that Tim Skipper instilled a culture of toughness, instilled a climate of accountability. And ever since then, it's maximum effort every play, every snap. So this team just, it goes from being dog walked by New Mexico. That was a 25-point margin at home in the Rose Bowl. And you go to beating Penn State and blowing the doors off Michigan State. And actually, UCLA and Indiana both beat Michigan State 38-13. Like that, it is effort, man. It is just, it's all about effort. These guys are just going balls to the wall. And under Deshaun Foster, like, they quit. Like the first, it wasn't, they didn't even get punched in the mouth. Like, just, if someone just kind of touched their face, they would just kind of melt. So it is just an effort thing. And one thing to underscore here is that, we've all seen players, coaches, right? The players will all profess to love the coaching staff, but they still don't do the fundamentals. They still aren't going to follow through with the details. And this UCLA coaching staff, the players love them, but they also follow through with the effort, with the details. Like, that's how they beat Maryland. They didn't play well. The offense didn't play well. And yet the defense keeps getting stops at lots of adversity, trailed in the fourth quarter. Nico Iamaleava throws a pick six. He also gets hurt. They overcome all of that. Like, it's a 180 in terms of culture and mindset and identity with this team.
Yeah, one thing with the effort piece is that, like, with UCLA, they're always going to have the athlete, right? They're always going to have that level of talent needed to be competitive. And, seeing them lose to the Lobos, of all teams, something that should never, ever, 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 ever happen in Pasadena. It was very clear that the team gave up, quit, whatever you want to call it, and just the effort wasn't there. And it's amazing how much talent they have, in that they're able to just turn it around in a snap, right, and knock off a top 5 team at home with an early kick too. It's something they're historically, I would say, not very great at, right? And yeah, it's a really cool story, and obviously they're hoping to continue it. Big test on the road in the heartland, the crossroads of America in Bloomington.
Matt, you touched on the effort piece and how that has been like the biggest key in the resurgence and the turnaround. But if you could talk specifics a little bit, what is this defense doing to not get run out of the building, and not just not get run out of the building? Like that Maryland offense, and a freshman quarterback going across the country, but like that Maryland offense was playing well. Like we're talking about a Penn State team, but this is 2 or 3 losses ago, right? Like they're not completely broken yet. So what is the defense doing well? Because one of the things that I came across when I did my little dive into UCLA is that they really don't get after the quarterback, and they don't create negative plays, and they don't really turn the ball over in the secondary either. So like what are they doing?
Yeah, it's not a tidal wave of splash plays or, negative plays, tackles for loss, but so much of September, if you were watching this team, was they just get bowled over, like just no resistance. And it's just kind of funny how just put up some resistance, right? Just, get another team in a 2nd and 6 and you have a fighting chance. But when teams are getting 12, 13 yards a play, or they're in 2nd and 2, 2nd and 1, like you have no shot. So it's one of these things where you don't have to set the bar so high. It's that the bar was so low to begin with, and just being kind of average, in the middle, it feels like they're not doing anything great, but just because of where they were in September, it's a huge advancement. They went from being absolute bottom of the barrel to being, okay, moderate. And just being moderate feels like, wow, we're kings of the hill. So that kind of creates part of the perspective. In terms of Maryland, let's just do Maryland specifically. Their corners held up one-on-one against Maryland's receivers, and until the end, Malik Washington busted loose for a long scramble late to tie that game at 17-all, but they contained him. Like they shut off running lanes for Malik Washington, and so discipline, staying at home, being in the right position. Like Kevin Coyle, Jerry Neuheisel's gotten so much praise, and all of it deserved. But Saturday was Kevin Coyle, the other coordinator. It was his time to shine because that UCLA's defense was, they could not slip up. Maryland led that game 10-7 for a good portion of that second half. They allow one touchdown, win trailing 10-7. That's ball game. But they kept it at a field goal deficit until late in the fourth quarter. Nico throws the go-ahead touchdown pass. But so they don't get blown away. So they mount some resistance. It's like they don't need to be the 1985 Bears, but there's a fundamental competence that's in there. But also you can tell by the discipline that they aren't letting mobile quarterbacks torch them on the ground. They're lane integrity, gap integrity, they are minding those details, which were completely out the door under the previous regime.
Brad, do you have a takeaway from the UCLA defense the past couple weeks?
Yeah, they really showed up. Obviously, with Penn State, with that first week with Coyle, it's only natural that they give up 30 plus to a team of that caliber. But then seeing them what's really been impressive about them is Kevin Coyle's performance, seeing them take on middle of the pack teams in the Big Ten like Michigan State and Maryland and shut them down offensively. And credit to Kevin Coyle. It's almost like he deserves even more credit than Jerry Neuheisel at this point. And yeah, it's just been really impressive what they've been able to do on not just one side of the ball, but both sides of the ball moving forward. Because like I said before, they have the athlete always to get the job done. It really just comes down to a structure and a discipline, which a program that probably hasn't had it in my entire life, to be quite honest. So, because they've had some crazy talented teams over the years, Jim Mora's era is the one that comes to mind, where it's just like, man, that team was uber talented, and they just, for whatever reason, just couldn't win a Pac-12 championship for whatever reason, despite having probably the most NFL talent in that conference at the time. So it's good to see that they're making strides. It's awesome to see that, that could be the regime moving forward. I would love to kind of hear from Matt, moving forward, big picture beyond the season. Because like you said, this season's going to be tough sledding, despite how well they're playing, to make a bowl game. And they're going to have some big decisions to make after the offseason. What is the plan to fix UCLA? Obviously, it starts with Martin Jarmon, who's, I don't think either of us are big fans of him.
Well, Brad, I'd like to add when you're done too.
And yeah, what is it? Is it sticking with Tim Skipper? Obviously, you want to keep Jerry Neuheisel around. That's a guy who's been very vocal about wanting the head coaching position. He's only been a coordinator for 3 weeks, so it's almost like doing the same thing with Deshaun Foster over again. So it could be really tricky. Maybe you keep Tim Skipper there just so you can keep Jerry. What is kind of either the buzz going around, or what do you think they should do?
And then real quick, I'll add to that. CJ Lavender was a flip today from Washington. So that staff is adding, actively adding talent. So
Modern day high school, big time commitment.
To
Brad's question, what is the future for UCLA?
And I think that's what makes this Indiana game so interesting and also important. I think that, if UCLA can play Indiana close, and by close, I mean it's a legitimate one-score game, maybe 10 points. It's not one of these deals where, Indiana leads by 23 and then UCLA scores a couple garbage time touchdowns to make it seem respectable. I mean, a legitimate 60-minute.
Hey, that's a good move.
What?
I said that's a good move.
Yeah, I mean, if UCLA can really stand in the ring, you're not expecting to win, but if it goes 15 rounds on the judges' scorecard and you don't get knocked out early, just if UCLA can give Indiana a legitimate, rugged battle, then that would go a long way toward Skipper, Neuheisel, Coyle all being retained. Because, as well as this staff has done, let's be honest, Michigan State is a disaster under Jonathan Smith. Aiden Childs is not good. That program's a sinking ship. And Maryland, Mike Loxley, Maryland's blown fourth quarter leads in 3 straight games, and that program is also floundering. It's just stuck. It's spinning its wheels. But now you make that huge step up in weight class. You're playing the number 2 team in the country, and you have Fox Big Noon Saturday there. So It's not as though Indiana, is ignoring UCLA. Like the Bruins have Indiana's full attention. So like UCLA is not going to sneak up on Indiana. Like Signetti is going to have his team fully prepared. I mean, and for Indiana folks watching here at the Voice of College Football, I'm part of the Kurt Signetti fan club. Like I'd love to have him coach at USC, but obviously that got swatted away with the new extension. But like,
well, I mean, that got. I mean, Derek Owings. USC tried to come after Derek Owings, obviously, as you know.
That's right. Yes, the strength coach. Yeah, yeah. So, I'm a Signetti believer. Was from the start. Certainly, like I was saying, not Kenny Dillingham for Coach of the Year last year. It was Signetti because he did in year one. Dillingham needed a second year at Arizona State. So, like, UCLA is not going to sneak up on Indiana. So if UCLA can actually make this a ball game, that would say, okay, this interim coaching staff is for real. Like they can go toe to toe with the big boys. Like, what more do you want? What more do you want if you're UCLA? If you can go, just make Indiana earn it on the road, body clock game, 9 a.m. Pacific. What else is there to say? I guess the Ohio State game, which is in mid-November, but really, like if they can just do it this week, and by do it I just mean make Indiana earn it. I don't know what more UCLA should look for, and let's keep in mind UCLA's other candidates, at least some of the other candidates that have been mentioned. Jed Fish, he's not doing well. Washington can't score any points against the best teams in the Big Ten. You look elsewhere across the country, like, where is that perfect hire going to be? And because Skipper Neuheisel-Coyle are so beloved by the players, and the players are maxing out in terms of effort for them, why would you want to go outside the family to hire a new coach who's probably going to, change the staff, which means Jerry Neuheisel isn't your offensive coordinator? Like that wouldn't go down well with the fan base. The other piece of this is that Martin Jarman needs to be fired. Like it is conclusive. It is clear he does not know how to manage the football program. Now, Olympic sports, sure, but like that's an old thing for lots of West Coast sports programs. That the Olympic sports are all well and good, and you get on the medal stand, every 4 years, but it's football. Like, and UCLA is a cash poor program. They're paying all that calimony, the $10 million annual fee to Berkeley for leaving the Big Ten. that goes through the California Board of Regents. That was a penalty that UCLA's on the hook for annually. So like you can't have 35,000 at the Rose Bowl. You need to be filling seats. You need to be getting 70,000 in the yard. You need to be removing those big tarps that Indiana fans saw a year ago, and which are still very much in place there. You need to be packing them in, and so you can't have Martin Jarman stay on because he inspires absolutely zero trust in the football program at UCLA.
100%. And like the UC Regents in general just need to take football a little bit more seriously across the entire state, not just UCLA, but also Cal. Will Cox has done a great job there with everything that, he doesn't have really. His lack of resources, still able to put on a competitive, team at least year in and year out. And like you could throw me as an AD, and like Olympic sports at UCLA are going to be just fine. Like that is the one school where you don't really have to worry about bringing in the best swimmers, the best tennis players, the best basketball players. Like that is the cream of the crop when it comes to that realm of athletics. So it really comes down to just focusing on football, and everything else will fall into place. And Martin Jarman has shown an inability to do that. And I've said it on this podcast before that he needs to be fired, and I'll say it again. I agree 100%. He needs to be fired, and they need to move on and find a new direction.
No question about it.
All right, I'll rein it back in for some UCLA football talk. We'll leave Martin Jarman alone. I feel like we beat him enough. Obviously deserved. Keep going after him. The UCLA fans are saying, but this UCLA offense, Neuheisel's gotten a ton of praise. Obviously, the locker room speeches and like the hair and the Hollywood stuff, like all that helps, and the connection with his father and the fact that he played there, all that stuff is all well and good. what is this offense doing really schematically that's been so successful? Or is it really just Nico is finally just saying, screw it, I'm just going to let my athleticism take over? And
yeah, the players claim that they're not revolutionizing the playbook, that Jerry Neuheisel is not, doing something completely different from what Tino Sunseri, a guy you all know well, the players are saying it's not an extraordinary overhaul of the playbook or the scheme. The real difference, it's not Nico and it's not any of the backs or receivers. The offensive line. The offensive line was a featherweight. The offensive line was a fluffy pillow that just, could not protect Nico. Nico was, Nico's been, the last few weeks, Nico's been running with a purpose. Like, he attacks running lanes. He sees the running lane early on the play, and he scoots, and the defenses are way out of position. They're out of place. They're caught off guard. The first month of the season, Nico was running a lot, but he was scrambling for his life. Like, he was just being chased 10, 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So Nico's been running the whole season, but under the new regime, he's running with a purpose for big positive plays and keeping defenses, off balance in terms of respecting the pass game versus having to spy him as a running threat. But in the first half of the season, or in September, Nico was running a lot, but it was like he was just wanted to avoid getting decapitated. He wanted to avoid getting his brains crushed because opponents were just caving the pocket. It was just a tidal wave. He had no chance, no shot. Like, his performances, his numbers didn't look great, but like, he just had no help. He was one man on an island with none of his 10 teammates helping him. So really, the offensive line, which really, that offensive line defeated Penn State's defensive line. Like, no one was expecting that in the Penn State upset. And then UCLA just absolutely pounded the ball down Michigan State's throat, start to finish. It was an absolute slaughter in the trenches. So the UCLA offensive line is really the key, that they're blowing guys off the ball, whereas previously they were just absolutely getting dominated. And I think that just in this UCLA-Indiana game, I think what's most interesting to me, purely from a matchup standpoint, purely in terms of personnel, are UCLA's front lines ready to deal with Indiana's heavyweights, up front? That to me, like, it's the whole ball game, right? Like, Nico's going to have zero chance if UCLA's offensive line gets completely dominated and overpowered. Like, UCLA's lines, which, did their job against Penn State and Michigan State, and the defensive line, UCLA defensive line, did its job against the Maryland offensive line. Can they now, again, make that step up in weight class? Because, like, now you're going up against Prime Tyson.
Yeah, it's a big right? ask.
Now you're going up against. Yeah, you're going up against Ollie and Frazier now. You're not going up against a tomato can. So to me, that is what's most interesting, purely in terms of matchups, purely in terms of personnel, bodies, and how good UCLA really is. Because I'm going to tell you, I don't know how good UCLA is. My lean is that Indiana does give a thumping to the Bruins, but this is a team that has surprised me the last 3 weeks. They could surprise me for a fourth week. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's a tall ask for that O-line, just considering, like, I don't know if you've seen any, like, the Havoc ratings on on Twitter or anything like that. Indiana, based on the stats, far and away the most havoc creating defensive line in the country. It's them, and it's everyone else based on the graphics that I'm seeing. So it's going to be
Indiana controlled Oregon on the line of scrimmage in Autzen Stadium. So yeah, that's a really high bar that I'm very skeptical UCLA is even going to come close to.
With Oregon being considered one of the best O-lines in the country, it's going to
be right. Dan Lanning has prided himself on having an elite offensive line, and Indiana just he knocked down that particular pillar of the Oregon program.
Still crazy to listen to people outside of the program refer to the Indiana both offensive lines and their team in this way. It is euphoric. I will say that. I got, one more question for you, and then we'll get you on out of here. Very much appreciate your time. You've been around this UCLA team all year. What is the most interesting thing you've picked up from following them for 6 or 7 weeks?
I mean, I don't recall an interim coaching staff making this much of a difference with a team this quickly. It's one thing for an interim staff to come in, and then maybe like a month later, it all kind of comes together. Players begin to figure it out. Everybody begins to be on the same page. No, this was in 2 weeks. This was a 2-week deal for UCLA to this isn't a slight change, right? This is a total transformation. This is a complete 180. Just going everyone who followed UCLA when the team was 0-4 felt, well, you look at the schedule, this is probably an 0-12 team. Like we're going to be Ty Willingham and the 2008 Washington Huskies.
Jake Walker.
Last Pac-10, Pac-12 teams to have the donut, the big bagel. And now we're talking, oh, this team could go to a bowl game. I mean, not likely, but it's a legitimate possibility. And UCLA hosts Nebraska later this season. I think UCLA wins that game.
Yeah.
I think UCLA's.
I think they're favored.
UCLA
sure.
won at Nebraska last year, and UCLA has a better quarterback this year. So and Nebraska, of course, just got dog walked by Minnesota, which lost by 13 to Cal. And I watched that Cal North Carolina game Friday night. Woof! Cal's receivers dropped almost 10 passes, and they almost lost to a Belichick coach team at home. And that team beat Minnesota by 13, and Minnesota beat Nebraska by 18. So, yeah, I think UCLA beats Nebraska. So I didn't think I'd be thinking any of these thoughts a month ago, and yet here we are. So it's just the dramatic change with this interim coaching staff from following UCLA. That's the thing. You do not see this ordinarily in sports, that an interim patchwork staff, which is not very experienced. Jerry Neuheisel's never been an offensive coordinator before, and he outcoached the $3.1 million man, Jim Knowles, in his first game. That is nuts. That's crazy. So that gives you a taste of what's been so surprising about UCLA.
Brad?
I mean,
he
nailed it right on the head.
You looked like you had something to add.
No, it's just I was just thinking a potential path. I think they do get that Nebraska win. I don't think they're going to go into Bloomington and get a dub. It's going to be just as hard in Columbus. But, I mean, it's realistic the way they're playing. Nebraska, Washington, and USC, all winnable games. USC's always a winnable game. Doesn't matter how bad UCLA is. And then another thought that came to my mind was you reminded me, Pac-12 memory of the week, 0-11, Washington State taking on 0-11 Washington in the Apple Cup. Loser is the toilet king back in 08, like Matt was saying. Yeah, we do. That's a little segment we do, Pac-12 memory of the week. So that's.
Have you done the 1983 toilet bowl between Oregon and Oregon State?
Oh no, I wasn't around for that.
Okay, well that can be your next segment or episode. Look that one up. You'll never guess the final score.
Yeah.
I absolutely love
6-3.
Matt, you
want to take the under on that one.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt, we have articles coming out tomorrow. I think I'm gonna see yours published, and then I'm gonna tail the format the exact same way. But kind of tell the people where they can find those, or yours at least.
So I do write for Trojans Wire, but I also write for UCLA Wire. I cover just West Coast college football for Gannett Corporation, the USA Today College Wire Network. So yeah, we have plenty of UCLA Indiana coverage already up at UCLA Wire, and a lot more through the week. And just we're going to cover the heck out of this game because it's a big deal. When we did a very simple basic newser on, hey, Fox Big Noon Saturday, that got some of our higher page view counts. So there's real grassroots excitement at UCLA about this game.
That is very, very exciting. And you can find my article on voiceofcollegefootball.com. Those will both be out tomorrow at some point during the day. You'll see there will be tweets. You can follow Matt on Twitter is it at Zemek Matt? Is it
Matt Zemek? Yeah,
Matt Zemek?
Zemek. Yeah.
Yep. Matt, appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining.
Had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. And all success. I'm definitely pulling for Indiana to rise to the very top of college football.
Appreciate that very much. Matt Zemek, man of many hats. Thank you very much.
Go Bruins, but next week. Yeah, I looked up that Oregon State score, 0-0 tie.
0-0 tie.
0-0 tie between a 2-8 Oregon State and a 4-6 Oregon. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. That's bad. But yeah, like I said, Matt's wears a ton of hats. We have some really interesting conversations, me and him. He's the lead editor for the Voice of College Football as well. So anytime I write something, I've been a little lax on the writing, but I really enjoy my conversations with him. He's a really knowledgeable guy. He's been covering the sport forever. I was, perusing UCLA Wire for the last couple of days, and they've got some great Indiana content on there as well. So definitely go check that out. Check out Matt. And, yeah, super excited for those articles to drop tomorrow. I'll be on the lookout for those.
Yeah, maybe I should have done some more perusing because I've had some pretty niche indie UCLA content I would follow over the years. Shout out Bruin Report Online back when it was scout.com. David Woods, he's my guy. I still follow him. He's one of my favorite follows on Twitter still. He always has the funniest things. So, yeah, just want to give a few shout outs there. But, yeah, let's get into some smoke.
Yeah, let's talk Hoosiers, baby. Fat Boy's already in the chat. He's saying UCLA is playing with confidence. Can't wait for this one. It feels good to hear Indiana be called the big boys. That is very, very true. It is euphoric to listen to people talk about this football team and not be disrespectful or like arrogant or like smug, or it is starting to turn. And we'll get into some of the things that happened this week on one of my favorite platforms out there.
To be humble, just embrace it. Like act like you've been there before, even though we definitely haven't. So so burners go crazy, but like we're gonna be on here, we're gonna be humble, we're gonna be I say that, but then I'm gonna hear my score prediction later. It's
We'll start here, Brad. The recruits in the class of 2026. I know there was some potential flip noise or some this or some that or whatever. All these dudes are locked in. Anyone who's committed with this class, I have the utmost confidence they're 100% locked in after seeing the way this team is played, watching the way that people at their position have performed. I don't see any way you can see that and then not be more excited to join this team. It seems like the general excitement across the class continues to rise, which is expected. And so that's really exciting to see. And so one of the things that happened today was like Ohio State is now focused on a Wake Forest flip. And why did that jump out to me? Because who were they trying to flip in the class of 2026 was Indiana commit Jaden Williams. Now they're on to somebody else because Indiana was able to play well enough and sell their vision well enough to stiff arm them. So it's a really exciting time to be an Indiana football fan. And like I continue to say, the future of this program is really, really bright. Like the class of 2025 that they brought in, very talented. The class of 2026 is stacking talent, and it's continuing to move up the rung. So those dudes are locked in.
Days, stacking weeks, stacking months, and stacking years at this point, Keyser? Is that what's going down? I mean, once the Oregon game happened, the floodgates are just going to open up when it comes to recruiting, and we're going to get access to those 4- and 5-star blue chip recruits, but obviously take our pick to the litter. I mean, I have insider sources that we're not, everyone's like, oh, we're going to poach Penn State's recruiting class. Like, they're just going to take their guys. I'm pretty confident in that. So, just trust the process. They're going to get their guys, stick to their process, but maybe just have, a little more access to the country now. And that's really exciting because you're going to be able to build off that. And, they're going to bring in guys, and the reality is probably not all of these guys are going to pan out. That's just how things go, but they're going to stick with the system.
They're much more likely to pan out if this staff is on them, though. I will say that
100%. That's the beautiful thing about the whole thing is that it's just going to continue, right?
That boy's laughing at you, Brad.
I've never been at this point. I don't think UCLA has ever been ranked. When I was following, Indiana definitely hasn't. I mean, last year is probably one of the highest rankings I've had of a team that I followed. 06 Maurice Jones-Drew team, Mercedes Lewis team, Drew Olson team, they were ranked 4 or 5, and then they were undefeated, and they ended up losing to Arizona on the road, a bad Arizona team, Willie Tuitama and the company on the road, and knocked themselves out of a BCS potential, and then eventually got walloped by Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and those boys later. But yeah, it's yeah. I'm gonna try my best. Act like I've been there before. I'm gonna give him the old college try and go for it. Yeah, Slew says Fuchs, Keys, Sieg. Those are obviously the big guys that everyone's been kind of eyeing in terms of taking visits to Indiana. Thinks we at least land 2 of them. I'll say I think we're gonna land one of those guys.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. It's also hard to say what's going to happen at Penn State, because obviously they're going to hire a coach, and if all those dudes were locked in with Penn State, then they could very easily just relock in with Penn State if they were that attached to the school. So it's definitely a wait and see with some of those guys. But I just think it's inevitable that you build this type of momentum that they've built, and it doesn't just attract more like guys that were on the fence. Guys that maybe weren't ready to make a decision yet, guys that wouldn't look in your direction. And then on top of that, like, this staff is going to be able to eventually have its pick of who it wants to go after. And I trust the evaluation process of this staff way more than I trust 24/7 or On3 or ESPN or whatever site you want to use. So it's like all the people that Indiana scouts are going to start, like, we had what was it, Bryson Beaver, who was the kid who flipped his commitment from Boise State to Oregon, then shot up like 800 spots.
Beaver, yeah.
That's going to happen to Indiana guys now, but because of the evaluation process of this staff. So that's really exciting.
That is really exciting. And I was going to call out a guy that flipped in the summer, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I just wonder what he's thinking right now. They're watching his new ball club lose to Stanford over the weekend. I think we can put the pieces together of who I'm talking about, but it's going to be yeah, you can stop me.
I'm going to stop you. We're going to move on. You know who can't stop? Indiana. Indiana can't stop appearing in the top right quadrant of any positive college football graph that has come out in the last however long. The cluster of teams that Indiana finds itself around is like hilarious at this point. It's just like Indiana, Ohio State, Bama, Oregon, like all in just the one cluster. And that's pretty much every single graph that's coming out, whether it's like expected plays or explosive plays or offense, defense, or complete teams, or literally pick a graph, any graph of any football stat, and Indiana's going to be on the top right of that thing. And it is wildly impressive how efficient this team is. It's crazy.
It's insane. And the funny thing about that whole thing, whenever I see the graphics, everyone's like, oh my God, look how good Indiana was. They were in the same spot last year. I mean, obviously they took another leap to where they're kind of in a class of their own. In a lot
You're
of these
right,
graphics.
Though. You're right.
Like,
and that's
all
been
these
so
graphics that you're seeing, they were top 10 in all of them last year. And we still had people telling us how they weren't a good team. And, a lot of those graphics are opponent adjusted. So, saying they had an easy schedule really doesn't work in that argument, right? So it's it's just funny to see it that way. But yeah, let's keep running through the smoke.
I agree. Mendoza Pons, Carter Smith named midseason All-Americans from The Athletic. Shout out to those guys. Can't remember if we covered that last week or not.
Juan Smith and Mendoza.
Yep.
No,
you could argue.
No Surratt.
No Fisher.
No Coop. I mean, I saw someone with a Bolitnikov top 10, and I'm just like, how is Cooper not on that list? How? Like, yeah, both the Ohio State guys. We don't have both the Indiana guys. Like, I don't know. The brand brain continues in the slightest. We're nitpicking here, but
hey, it still exists. It still exists. Some more awards. The Joe Moore midseason honor roll for nation's best offensive line bestowed upon the Indiana offensive line.
Love it. I mean, Carter Smith's playing like the best offensive lineman in the country right now. He has a 99.3 PFF pass blocking grade right now. I
got a Carter Smith stat for you from Bite Size Bison. If you don't know Bite Size, if you listen to this show and you don't know Bite Size Bison, what are you doing? But he tweeted out that Carter Smith has allowed 1 quarterback pressure in Big Ten play and 0 in the last 3 games. Like, that is just wild.
It's gross.
Wild. The last 3 games are Michigan State, Oregon, and Iowa.
Teams with
zero pressures.
With guys that play Big Ten football. It's crazy that is happening because it's such a hard position to really dominate. And obviously O linemen don't get enough credit because it's like you don't give up a sack, you really don't get any flowers, but you give up 3, you're cut. That was like a Will Campbell quote from his interview process, right? Yeah, Will Smith got to be on that Outland watch, right?
Carter Smith.
Who did I say?
Will Smith.
Oh, yeah, I'm in Dodger mode. Fresh Prince. Yeah, Carter Smith's got to be on that Outland Trophy watch list, right? I think he's got to be like in the lead too. Like I can't think of an offensive tackle that's had a better year than him so far, and he's probably shooting up the draft boards right now. And yeah, I'm basically calling him a senior at this point. Like, there's no shot Carter Smith comes back next year. Just the way he's playing, he's playing his way into a first round pick right now.
I would echo that sentiment. Someone else who got some recognition who doesn't have the hard stats to back it up is Mikal Kamara, who got a lot Impact Trophy quarterfinalist.
That's the perfect award for him because we're talking impact, right? And I don't know if there's a guy that has made a bigger impact. That's a guy that's with, we're probably going to talk about it with Wyatt going down. Like, that's a guy that's going to probably step up and maybe get a tick in production, right? And, or we just continue the same thing and just change up a few packages, go 3-3-5, a lot more rather than going 4-2-5.
Well, I think we were playing a very hybrid version of a 3-4. Like, Wyatt was definitely a hybrid outside linebacker. Like, he didn't have his hand in the ground most of the time, unless I'm just misremembering the way we were playing defense.
Yeah. For me, it's not like hand in the ground doesn't like define. He was with D end in that defense, but yeah, it's all just schematics.
Yeah, that does. The Wyatt injury sucks. Oh, it hurts because they don't have anybody with his skill set, and what he allowed them to do and how versatile he allowed them to be defensively is something that they're not able to replace. But at the same time, we have one of the best, if not the best, defensive mind in football in Brian Haynes, and it almost is going to be like a challenge for those guys in that room, in that defensive line room, like Buda Williams and Pat Kuntz, and they're going to have to mix and match and change some personnel packages, and it's not going to look exactly the same as it did the first couple of weeks, but there's a lot of really explosive playmakers in that room still, and a lot of guys with the opportunity to step up. So it creates an opportunity for somebody to go make some plays. We saw Stephen Daly, who I don't know if anybody was able to catch Stephen Daly's presser today, but he said that he, as a junior in high school, weighed 230 pounds, made states for discus and track, and placed third in the 100-meter. He was playing defensive end and wide receiver.
A crazy athlete.
That dude is a monster.
That gets you not just recruited, but you recruiting philosophy, you want the multi-sport guy. So just hearing his success in track and field, what it sounds like, definitely going to get you buzzed on the recruiting trail. Shocker that he was at Kent State this whole time. Shit team too. They're horrible last year.
James, you recruited him,
and it's it's crazy that that's the type of stuff that NFL guys are going to look at when they're scouting out this team, because at this point you're ranked 2 in the country. All your guys are getting looks. So come to Indiana, you recruits out here, right?
Let's go this way first. Speaking of people with multiple skill sets but did not go league, Mike Kadick got to meet Joe Thomas. That was a really cool interaction. They were talking about his set and how he was able to get out of his stance. And if you're just a football technician or a junkie like that, that was a really cool little interaction between Kadick and a legend.
Yeah, Joe Thomas, one of the best to ever do it, was fishing when he got drafted, 3rd overall back in 06. Yeah, he was not in the green room. They're just he's fishing right now with his dad, so he's just waiting to get a phone call.
Kadick also narrated the homecoming trailer, which I thought was awesome. Really nice touch from the Indiana media, football media apparatus that's been doing a kick-ass job all year.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis Moore got some nice Senior Bowl recognition this week, which was really cool. He's been having a hell of a season. As Fat Boy pointed out in the chat, Buffton Prime is the only site he trusts for player evaluation. Like, you know, who was all over Lewis Moore being a high impact player. Shocker. T-Cal had that one all the way, right?
Yeah, fantastic open field tackler. Has the interceptions production to put him into an all Big Ten, all American conversation. I saw him on a with a, I can't name the site, but he was midseason All American on that graphic and was the only Hoosier on it, by the way. It was funny to see. His impact on the team in a year where, you know, I'm just going to call it how it is. Amari Farrell probably hasn't, I'm saying he's playing bad, but probably hasn't made the impact that we thought he would going into this year. And having Louis Moore kind of fill that role, fill those shoes has been so amazing for this team and a big reason why they've been so successful.
Speaking of reasons why Indiana's been successful, D'Angelo Pons, try 5, get 6, highest graded corner in the Big Ten, according to Pro Football Focus. That is not a surprise to the two of us or any Indiana football fan, but shout out to D'Lo for having a hell of a season.
Next. I already knew that. Like, come on.
Tell us something we didn't know, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. Players of the week for Michigan State. Fernando Mendoza on offense, Daly on defense, Radicic, special teams, and the scout team was Zachary Smith, Miles Kendrick, and Andrew Turvey. Oh, Johnson.
Turvey might be a guy we might see. Might see 18 on the field, might see some 17, might see some. Oh my God, I gotta break out the old depth chart. Oh my goodness.
We're gonna see some 17. We saw some 17 last week. Brad, I need your thoughts on the Signetti extension, obviously, and I need like a 2.5 minute wrap up on your thoughts on Michigan State. So whichever one you want to do first.
I'll do Michigan State first. Wrap up on Michigan State. Love that they wore the green pants. I hate when teams wear the same colored pants. I think it's the worst thing ever. So I hope UCLA wears gold this weekend. But
you're talking about the two teams on the. Okay, I got you.
But back to ball. About what you would expect. Michigan State played an inspired game. I'd say they showed up a lot better after getting their ass beat by UCLA. I think they showed up a lot more correct, a lot better than what they did after just eye test wise. Like there's just more effort there, more grit. They just, showed a lot more passion on the field, and that resulted in them, having the lead at some point early in the game, just like last year, but it really didn't matter. The offense was clicking. Mendoza really showed his, Heisman, what do you call it? Heisman. Yeah. He showed up like a Heisman that would, right? 4 tutties, perfect ball to, Surratt in the front pylon over there. That's an NFL ball with an NFL receiver catch with the late hands. That needs to be recognized with Surratt. And the big boys showed up. Coop, Surratt, EJ got a lot of action too. Loved seeing that. And they were throwing Becker and Brady out there, like we were saying, like getting those guys involved and trying to get them more involved with the offense. I think is going to be huge for this team moving forward. Michigan State did a great job stopping the run. For Roman Hemby, he had a quiet day, but Kalen Black stepped up. There you go. It's
and
like
Kobe Martin was great too.
When I said this team was loaded in the offseason, this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? Wyatt goes down. Daly steps up for 2 sacks. Helmet sticker for Daly. Quick helmet sticker, Mendoza, Surratt, Coop, and Carter Smith. I'm going to give Carter Smith a helmet sticker, a long overdue helmet sticker, that is. Basically just like a midseason appreciation helmet sticker for the boy. And yeah, it was tough to not get out of that game healthy and lose Kellen Wyatt for the year, a very special athlete, someone who brings a lot of versatility to the defense. It's going to be great to see how they respond and change things up a little bit. Probably just more Roe Hardy, more Bones Jones, and probably a few other guys like a Turvey and Duke Way. We'll talk about it more during the game preview, but great showing all around. I called it during the preview. They have the talent on offense with Nick Marsh, Kelly, and Childs. He said he was bad. I don't see it that way.
Yeah, I don't think Childs is bad.
I don't think Childs is bad. He played a solid game for them.
Actually, I think Childs is really good.
Yeah, he made do, and then the defensive line eventually just broke through and really just made his second half of the game a living hell. So that's just how it goes sometimes when you play this sport and you play against the big dogs that is Indiana now. So it's a great game. That wasn't the blowout that we were expecting, but a dominant performance from a team that, it wasn't any, like, we can't beat everyone 56-10. It's unrealistic. So to win that game like that, very impressive. Didn't quite get the cover, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
Yeah, not great for the Gamblers, but no, I agree. It was a dominant win. They clearly didn't have their best game on defense. They still allowed one offensive touchdown. Like, that's not a game where I walk away and I'm like concerned about the way they played, especially, again, like I referenced over the weekend. Look at how many top 25 teams lost over the weekend.
It is October 21st, and Indiana Hoosiers have allowed 6 total touchdowns on offense this year.
That is insane. That is insane.
7 games, 6 touchdowns.
Absolutely insane.
I don't care what schedule you're playing, man. That's what Ohio. It's Ohio State level. Like it's too far to talk about, too far ahead. But Ohio State's defense is getting all this praise. I'd say Indiana has played better offense this week in and week out than Ohio State. Like, you can make an argument that this Indiana defense might be the best in the country.
I would echo that sentiment, Bradley. I really would.
Heisman Mendoza, Waffle House for Bolitnikov, and then Carter Smith for Outland.
Well, I was gonna say this is why Indiana keeps showing up in the holy shit, look at this team's tough stretch tweets. It's like, boom, Indiana right there. And it's like, yeah, John, we'll be in town this weekend. Don't worry. I was gonna get to that in a second. Right before we start the game preview, we'll talk. We don't really have a plan yet, but we'll talk a plan.
Yeah, we're planning on leaving Chicago around 10. So yeah, we'll get there. So we got to pick up Max and Indy. Anyways,
yeah,
he's not available that early, so that one we're leaving.
I want to get to it in a second. I want to get through the smoke first, and then we'll talk logistics. Heisman Mendoza, because you referenced it, Brad. I feel like this has to be a full-blown grassroots effort. I've changed all the Twitter accounts over to hashtag Heisman Mendoza, following Fat Boy's lead. Shout out to Fat Boy on that one. But I think it's got to start now. It's got to start from everybody. It's got to be constant. It's just like the kid's going to go out there and earn it. So I feel like we just have to be as vocal as possible. What do you, like? You have followed college football, the sport, for a lot longer than I have, or a lot closer than I have for a lot longer. So what does it take to win a Heisman in terms of the apparatus around the player?
Always one of the common themes, obviously big numbers is a big thing. What's kind of going on in this Heisman race, which is very unique, haven't seen it in a while, is that it's literally just the top 4 teams and their quarterbacks are kind of in the race right now. It's Sain, Marcel Reed, Ty Simpson, and Fernando Mendoza, and go figure. Those are the best teams. They have the best quarterbacks. It's funny how that all works with the transfer portal, and everyone's kind of even the playing field. And when push comes to shove, who has the best quarterback and who's playing the best at that position right now is kind of the separator. And that's what you're seeing right now. And it's a very unique kind of race that we're seeing. What it does take, obviously, the stats, and that's going to come with winning, right? Mendoza's ahead of all of them in touchdowns right now. He's great, only 2 picks. Ty Simpson has a better ratio, but like, what are we going to, like, 1 versus 2 picks? Like, what are we going to nitpick here? I don't think that's really going to come much into play. What is the separating factor is a Heisman moment. It's a media award, right? And Mendoza in Oregon, that back shoulder to Surratt, Heisman moment. Mendoza at Iowa, game winner to Surratt. Funny thing there.
Guy's always open.
Heisman moment. And 4 tutties in a rivalry game, that's another big stat game to back it up. I think he hit 300. Did he break 300 in that game too?
In which game?
Michigan State.
Yeah, I think there was 290, something like that. He was up there. It was his best passing game of the season, obviously.
Yeah, 330 for 4 tutties with a 97 QBR, 24 for 28, just disgusting numbers. Jesus Christ. But it's unbiased. That guy's in the lead for the Heisman right now.
Yeah.
And here's why. He's at Indiana. Underdog story. That's huge for the media narrative. right? What's going to be tough is there's a lot of Ohio State voters that are going to go Sand. Menzel's probably going to go Marcel Reed. Pavia's a little dark horse here that, if they keep winning, he might sneak in there, and that's going to be a big could sneak up in there into that Heisman race. And obviously Ty Simpson with that, but it's Bama, it's the Bama quarterback, Kalen DeBoer, great play caller. And that's not to say that we don't have great play callers here at Indiana, but yeah, he needs to strike the pose. But like the thing with Mendoza, he's never gonna do that. Like that's not who he is as a person. It's like I just hope that all the Heisman voters are.
He's exactly the guy in the Edward Catone edits.
Yeah, seeing the type of leader and the type of kid that he is, and really take that into account when it comes time to vote, right? And I think it's important. I love that they're airing it out with him against Michigan State. I think they're going to continue to do that and kind of plump his numbers up to get that Heisman for him. And I think he's really in the driver's seat. He just keeps up what he's doing right now. He's in prime position to win that award. Unbiased. That is my unbiased master of the eye test. I mean, I called this kid Andrew Luck in April. It's it's just all coming to fruition.
Yep. I would echo everything you just said. Let's talk about the Kurt Cignetti extension. I have put plenty of thoughts out. You put out a brilliantly put together thread, I thought. So I just want to give you a shot to put your thoughts out on the show.
Yeah, what did I say?
That guy was pretty good. Well, I don't even know what I said.
I just need to it'll just help me get all my thoughts together. But like I was just seeing so many, chatters about, it's a fully guaranteed contract. And that just doesn't happen in college football too often. And they're getting a lot of flack for it. Whether it was David Pollock, Paul Feinbaum, go figure, a few SEC guys. At the end of the day, it's a no-brainer. Point one being, it's Indiana, right? We finally got our guy. Give him anything he wants. I don't care if we go 8-4 the rest of the way. I really don't. I really don't. I'm going to live and die with that guy because we finally have a guy in seat. I'm not going to let him go anywhere. He's going to retire a Hoosier as long as I have any control over it, any say. And then just beyond that, right? And a lot of it isn't even necessarily what he's done at Indiana, which is the obvious, right? 17-2, 11-1 or whatever in Big Ten play. Just levels of success that this program has never seen before. That's the obvious. What isn't the obvious is he's had 0 losing seasons, right? It's almost a foolproof, like we're going to a bowl game every year. And but when we hired Cignetti, that was the goal. Like we just need a coach that takes us to a bowl game every year. And we have one, right? Obviously, no self-imposed limitations with this team, obviously. But that's what Indiana's always wanted, bare minimum, right? And yeah, and then he's a fantastic recruiter. That was my second point. He's built this team in the top 5, right? Number 2 in the country, 7 blue chip recruits on the roster. Great eye for talent, and it's really just the system that brings these guys in and brings out the most of their potential and breeds success, right? And it's that talent evaluation that we've talked about before on this show that is a big catalyst for that, and that's going to continue, especially now that he has the national momentum of having access to these higher profile guys. Like this is a guy at NC State that brought in Russell Wilson and Phillip Rivers. He's always going to bring in a good quarterback with this ball club. His very first class at Alabama. Obviously, he's the recruiting coordinator, but he handpicked Dante Hightower. He found Mark Ingram, and he found Julio Jones himself and brought them to Tuscaloosa. He did that. He was the lead recruiter on all 3 of those recruitments. And then, he's a coach's son, Nick Saban coaching tree. He's a watchdog for complacency. They're not gonna fall flat on their face. They're just not gonna do it. And he just has a screw loose, right? Just a different wiring in his brain where he's just a little obsessed about the sport. And that's only just gonna breed success. With all that combined, it's just gonna, with the financial backing that he has, it's there's just no way this team doesn't continue to be nationally relevant as long as he's there.
Did you see the MOU today?
The what? MOU. Oh yeah. So basically, if Dolson or Witten leave,
no, that was one of many clauses in there. That was and not one of the couple I wanted to highlight. But no, the ones I wanted to highlight were if he reaches the college football semifinal, he's guaranteed to get a pay raise up to the third, like no less than the third, like highest active head coach in the
at any given point.
At any given point, if he makes the college football semifinal. I think anytime his like staff pool, like the pool to pay assistants, isn't at least 5th in the Big Ten and 10th nationally, they're going to review it. Meaning they're just going to redo it.
But what's great about Sig is that he doesn't need those MOUs. He's going to do it because he fucking wants to. That's the thing. That's why it's a no-brainer. That's the point here I'm trying to make, is that you can set incentive is like that's his agent cooking, right? Like getting all that stuff for him, right? Sig didn't give a shit. He talked to Dolson for 90 seconds, then he talked to his agent, and the deal was done. Like,
Dolson walked into
don't bother me. I'm watching film.
Literally, he was like, "Can we get this done?" And Sig was like, "Sure, go talk to my agent. I'm watching film. Like, I don't even care." And then all of a sudden, he had a new deal. He's like, "Cool, I'm getting paid more. Like, let's go beat Michigan State."
Yeah, it's sick. Like, this guy's awesome. So,
but yeah, that Pam Whitten clause is if Pam Whitten or Scott Dolson are no longer with the school, his buyout gets cut by 50%. So whatever his buyout numbers got raised to, all of that gets cut in half.
Yeah. So for all you people, obviously there's a lot of flack going Pam Whitten's way, and people want her gone. Mind you, I think in the long term, it's going to be better for the school.
This is a college football show, and I'm going to leave the discussion at that.
I think it's best for a college football program that Pam Whitten sticks around. All right, I'll leave it at that.
I agree, and we're gonna move on to Big Noon Kickoff is coming to Indiana this weekend, which I know I kind of threw. I don't want to say if I threw a hissy fit or whatever words I want to use, but I was a little bummed that it was a noon kick because selfishly I wanted, again, like I've been saying, more time to hang out in Bloomington, but that spotlight is a massive deal. That is the number one pick of game every week is Big Noon Kickoff. That also means Barstool in tow is going to be there. And obviously we have a very vocal Indiana supporter at Barstool, along with Mike Kadick, who is White Boy Rick. And there was a lot going on with Rick this week in terms of him and Big Cat. Big Cat talking about wanting to murder Rick for being an obnoxious Indiana fan, and then wanting to put Rick on the podcast if Indiana wins the national title. And so they settled somewhere in between. But Big Cat was in my mentions, Brad, talking to the Indiana fan. So it was a kind of a funny week in terms of the Barstool interactions.
Yeah, I'm excited. Maybe we'll run into him. Maybe we'll bump shoulders and grab a drink at a bar or something.
No, we'll be at upstairs. So yeah.
Fat Boy saying Nick Saban hates Sig. Sig must have, and then John saying Sig must have left Bama under bad terms. I don't know what that's all about. Either he's jealous, either he's maybe Sig left for that D2 program and Sig and Nick really wanted him to stay, and it just didn't really make a whole lot of sense to Nick why he was leaving. But obviously it all worked out for him, and it's kind of a fuck you that he's getting paid like Nick. Probably getting paid more than Nick. There's the inflation of these contracts, right? So,
well, I mean, think about it from Nick Saban's perspective. You have the best recruiting coordinator in the game, and you're just gonna be on autopilot essentially, and not like they struggled, right? But you just have to scramble and go get somebody else. I don't necessarily think Nick Saban hates Sig. A couple questionable comments in the media, but you also have to look at the team he's playing for, right? Like, it's not exactly a bunch of friendship going on at ESPN towards Indiana, so. I don't know. He says a lot of really respectful things, and at least when Sig first got hired, it was nothing but respect from Saban. Like, that was one of the main things or main reasons why I was so excited about the hires, because at the end of that day, we got a Nick Saban quote that was like, they're hiring an incredible head coach. Carter Smith said today that Derek Owings, his saying is motion is lotion.
Pause. Like, come on. All right. Next. I can't handle that.
You don't have anything. He's saying like range of motion and like doing and like flexibility and all that is important.
Yeah, I agree, but just let's keep that shit in house. I don't. I do like how healthy we stay, week in and week out.
We are a healthy bunch. That's so funny. All right, do you want to talk logistics first, real quick, or do you want to jump into game preview?
We could talk logistics.
All right. Yes, we will be in Bloomington this weekend. I'm pumped. I can't wait. I'm flying out to Chicago like midday Thursday. So we'll be in the Windy City on Thursday night. We'll be getting to Bloomington. I'm gonna try and make 50-cent wing Friday at the upstairs pub. So I'm pushing Brad to get up and get in the car early, but we'll see.
We'll
That's
see.
my internal battle.
Hopefully, we can maybe get out by 9:30 and maybe make it there. Right? That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be in Bloomington all Friday afternoon and obviously all day Saturday. So, reach out and we'll be more than happy to connect and play Sync the Biz at Nick's.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, we'll be at
I'm getting hungry, man.
We'll be at upstairs pub. I'm not ruling out ZNC. I'm not ruling out going to the home field apparel store. I'm walking around campus.
Post-game dinner, ZNC Saturday is literally happening. I don't know what you think is going to happen, but that is happening.
I'm going to have to go to 4th Street. I'm going to have to go to Little Italy Market. Like, I don't have enough time for this shit, Brad. Like, I'm going to have to miss my flight or something. Like, I got stuff to do.
Yeah, no.
I can't wait to be back. Last time I was there, and I spoke about it a couple of times, but I was at homecoming in 2021. It was 50-6 Ohio State, and it poured the second half of the game, much like it did this past weekend for homecoming. And my buddies and I stayed. I caught a T-shirt, right? Like, I was like, I don't know when I'm going to get back to be able to watch this team again in Bloomington. And so, like, sounds gay.
Yeah, the motion is lotion. That's what I said.
Oh, he's talking about that.
Yeah, it's and then when's your flight on Sunday?
I'm flying out. It's a pause. I'm flying out Monday, like later in the day.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry about rushing back on.
Yeah, but we have other people that we're driving, so we'll have to coordinate.
No, Ryan's flying out Monday too.
Well, there's another guy.
Yeah, and we'll get him to the airport on Sunday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're good. But yeah, I want to play the hits when I'm in Bloomington. So yeah, we'll be at Nick's for sure. Not exactly sure what the time will be. We'll definitely be at upstairs.
So it sounds like we can get a nice brunch on Sunday morning. That's good. That will be needed.
That will definitely be needed.
Give me 10 billion strips of bacon, please. Thank you. All right, I'm dying here. That will be me Sunday morning. I promise.
John, eventually we'll be at upstairs pub, but I have no idea what time we're gonna be in Bloomington on Friday. But trust me, it'll be all over the socials. Like Brad and I we'll be posting more than I will be pushing content from Brad this weekend. We'll have videos straight from the Twitter account. We'll be active on Instagram potentially. We might even do maybe an Instagram live during the car ride. Who knows? I'm not ruling that out. But yeah, we're.
John, you want to watch your Dodgers on Friday? Oh my God, we could. It's gonna be a great day. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm very, very pumped. And then I want to walk around the tailgate fields and talk to people and do all that stuff. I don't know if we'll have time for all that, but
yeah, I would love to go to the tailgates on Saturday. So
yeah, the day they tailgate. Yeah, that'd be.
Would love.
Probably not get there on Friday.
Would love the.
Although honestly, I wouldn't mind getting.
We don't have any tailgate plans
on Friday night either.
Out, would love to hop in the tailgate and talk ball with anyone. So.
Yeah, we'll be around. We will definitely be around. But yeah, could not be more excited. And
Bloomington, bring some Millers or something. I'll help out.
The football program, the football team, the vibes could not be any more different than the last time I was there. Like I'm
really excited to see what it looks like now. Because the last time I was there was Cincinnati. So
I've never seen it more than like half filled.
It was pretty packed at a first Ohio State game our freshman year.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. Like 75%, but it's like 60% opposing fan base. Like I've never seen it rock for the Indiana Hoosiers. Like I've never been like, holy cow, like in person, like through the TV in this era of Indiana football. Hell yeah, I have. And that's why I'm so excited to go see this team play live. I'm excited to see the team speed. I'm just excited to see the scheme and the execution in person. Like a couple weeks ago, I was at South Carolina and Kentucky. And like I know Indiana would wax both those teams, you know what I mean? But just to like have that frame of reference of like what a football team looks like in 2025 and to be able to go look at what this Indiana team looks like. Ooh, baby. I'm excited.
I'm horny. All right. Game preview. Game preview.
I love a transition.
Yeah, that was probably best transition of the year. You know, when we do our what we call them, the Siggies at the end of the year, you know.
Ooh, the Smokies.
Oh yeah, the Smokies.
Yeah, Brad, I'm glad you brought that up because we're gonna do maybe from the car ride we'll do a Smokies mid-season award watch list.
I'll be driving, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, game preview. We got the UCLA Bruins, the University of California at Los Angeles Bruins. Not the primary school in their own state, actually. It's UC Berkeley. They're the flagship school, University of California. This is, it's like a UAB, but, big state. They got a big institution. Probably one of the most proud athletic programs in the country. In the sense they were the first program to reach 100 NCAA titles. Did you know that? Back in
I didn't know
08. I don't think they're in the lead. I think Stanford overtook that lead for NCAA titles. But that's why I said, winning Olympic sports at UCLA is never going to be an issue, right? Proud tradition. Think of some UCLA alumni. Who comes to mind when you think of UCLA?
Maurice Jones-Drew, obviously.
Oh, that's my all-time favorite player.
How could I not think of MJD? How can I not think of Anthony Barr?
Anthony Barr, that's a good one. Yeah, he broke Matt Barkley's collarbone in 2011. That was awesome. Or 2013, something like that.
Ethan Garbers, hard not to think of Garbers. Or J. Mike Sturtevant. I know he's not on the team anymore.
He's not the love. I'm thinking more like Jackie Robinson, Chase Utley, Arthur Ashe, so Lou Alcindor, Bill
Garrett
Walton, Garrett Cole, Trevor Bauer. Really good athletes have come out of that school over the years. And
Schweinsteiger, right? Is that his name?
Let's just say did you know they're the most applied to school in the world?
I didn't know that. I would like to check those numbers. I don't know if that's true.
They're the most applied to school, at least in the country.
Is that the entire UC system that they just get to claim? Whatever that bullshit graphic was. Remember that graphic that was like the UC system has the most alumni or whatever it is, and it was like counting every single school in the system. It was like,
the UC Irvines, the UCSDs, all the little schools around them. Yeah. But yeah, UCLA. What do we talk? How do we do these game previews? Alumni, football history. All right, that's cool. Yeah, UCLA, very proud program. You put them in any of those like blue blood rankings that you see out there. They're in top 20. They've had a lot of football success over the years, and a lot of it started. Obviously they had Jackie Robinson playing quarterback way back in the day. Gary Beeben led them to a national title back in 1967. Was it 67? No, in 54 actually under Red Sanders.
Obviously 54. I was waiting for you to make the self-correction because
man, what an idiot!
Me and the chat were both laughing at you because everybody knew that.
Yeah, and then after Red Sanders and they got that national title, a couple Rose Bowls. It kind of went, they're still a proud program. They had some cool eras, but really the big one was the Terry Donahue era. He was hired in first they hired Dick Vermeil in 1974, and he ended up taking the Rams job. He was a very good coach, ended up winning a Super Bowl with them, actually. He's actually the head coach in that movie Invincible, where he takes on the random Philadelphian from the streets and puts him on special teams. How about that? Mark Wahlberg, shout out. Then obviously once Dick Vermeil leaves, Dick Vermeil won a Rose Bowl in his second year at UCLA. So he ended up taking the Philadelphia Eagles job right after that. So they go with Terry Donahue, right? And he kind of just takes it in stride, right? He had a stretch where he won 3 Rose Bowls in 4 years. The 1 year he didn't, he won a Fiesta Bowl. So I think that 4-year stretch was pretty damn good in the 80s for UCLA. They were the cream of the crop in SoCal, right? They were, people think that's a USC run town, but back in the 80s and 90s, that was UCLA's town back in the day when it came to football. And they really dominated. Terry Donahue stayed all the way through 95. Bob Toledo took over. And then in 1998, they were a game away from a national title berth in the first ever BCS national title in 1998. Bob Toledo's like 3rd or 4th year. And they have to play last week of the year, a rescheduled game due to a hurricane against, ironically, the Miami Hurricanes, who were kind of in a down year. And if you've ever watched the documentary The U, one of the players said, you don't want good things, or something to the likes of, if you want good things, the last team you want to play is the U, and they played spoiler that day. Adrian James ran for, I always bring this up to my dad. He just puts his hand on his head every time I bring it up. And Adrian James ran for about 350 yards, and they won 48-45, something like that, at the Rose Bowl or in Miami, and knocked them out of the national title. They ended up losing to Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl that year. That's why when I applied to Wisconsin, my dad was, hesitant about, the whole move. He's like, I don't like Wisconsin at all. I don't like it. They beat that 98 team, And basically ever since then, just an era of mediocrity, falling short. They had that 05 year where they were, went undefeated went 9-0 and then got upset by Arizona. They've had their spurts here and there, right? Carl Durrell years, they had that 1 year in 05, but for the most part, Carl Durrell just 6-6 year in and year out, never missed a bowl game. They were still chasing that high of the 90s and 80s, so they move on from Carl Durrell, right? And trying to find that next juice. And they go with Rick Neuheisel. Might sound familiar. Father of Jerry Neuheisel, legendary quarterback. Actually, back in the day, Rick Neuheisel threw a touchdown pass in the Rose Bowl to Carl Durrell. So that both common theme here. UCLA loves hiring former UCLA players to try to bring them back to glory from those Terry Donahue teams. Very common theme. Rick doesn't work out. The funniest thing about Rick is when he took the job, he said he printed out an entire page in the LA Times. I remember vividly seeing that exact newspaper. And he stated the monopoly in LA is officially over. 4 years later, he gets canned, and they hire Jim Mora Jr., a former NFL coach. So really like a new pivot for them, trying to figure that out, right? And they go with Jim Mora, brings in a ton of talent. They contend for Pac-12 titles year in and year out, especially in those first 4 years. And then things kind of take a dip, and then Bruins fans just kind of lose patience. I had a buddy who played with Mora at UConn, and he would always in meetings just spaz out like, I should have never been fired at UCLA. Like he.
Are you serious?
That was like a thing. Yeah, that's a real story.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, like he probably shouldn't have been, to be honest. And
why are you bringing that up in UConn meetings, though, bro? What are you talking about?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't in meetings, but he's just bringing it up, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, they ended up kind of falling short last 2 years in the Jim Mora 16-17. Not the best, but tons of great players. And like I brought it up when we were talking to Matt, was like those teams had the most NFL talent possibly in the country at that time. And besides Bama, obviously. And for whatever reason, they just couldn't win the Pac-12 South. It was just a constant level of underachieving that fans just kind of got tired of, despite how much success and talent he was bringing in. And they eventually made the move for trying to take him to the next level, and they thought that would be Chip Kelly. And at the time, super excited about the hire, right? He had a Jim Moore kind of left a skeleton of a program when it came to roster construction and things like that. So Chip had to overcome that over time with play calling, things like that. So he struggled his first 3 years, obviously. And, and it didn't help for the fact that Chip really didn't continue recruiting, and that was ultimately his downfall and kind of ultimately led to where UCLA is at. Like we said earlier, Martin Jarmon should have fired Chip Kelly after that Cal game. I was at that Cal game. Jay Knott ran wild. They should have fired him right then and there. Fernando Mendoza played in that game, by the way. They should have fired him right then and there. And what was tough about it is that the week prior, he actually beat USC. That was probably the one thing where Martin Jarmon was maybe a little hesitant about making that move at that time. And yeah, it kind of resulted in them not firing him when they probably should have. And then he eventually left for the Ohio State OC job in February. And then they had to hire a head coach in March. And then you're already playing from behind because not only are you hiring this guy in March, he has no head coaching experience. He's figuring everything out on the fly. You saw his first press conference at Big Ten Media Day. And it was just a shit show from the start. And honestly, just a really tough position to put a legend that is Deshaun Foster, a guy that played on those Bob Toledo teams in the early 2000s and when they were still really good and coming off national relevance and things like that. They swept Bama back in those days and in a home and home. Like they were legit, and to put him in that position I think was really unfair and not a great way to kind of treat your legends. But yeah, they find themselves in year 2. They start 0-4. Losing the New Mexico Lobos. Didn't even think that was possible. In all my years of watching UCLA football, didn't even know it was possible.
You lost your mind on this very program.
Didn't even know it was possible. And eventually they lose to Northwestern. That's the final straw, let them go. And then they retool with a new staff, and they're 3-0 ever since. It brings us to Big Noon kickoff on – give me a date. This Saturday.
October 25th.
October 25th. This Saturday.
Date has been ingrained in my brain.
Memorial Stadium. It's number 2 Indiana versus the UCLA Bruins, who are trying to fight their way back into relevance. A reeling team. They won 3 straight. They have all the confidence in the world. Yeah, we find ourselves here. The spread is what, 23.5?
Yeah.
25.5, actually. It's rising.
That is not surprising.
All time. Indiana is 1-0 against the Bruins. They played for their first time last year.
Yeah, John says, is UCLA the only Big Ten team to never beat the Hoosiers? I would probably have to say yes.
Yeah, because USC beat them in the Rose Bowl, and I'm sure Washington's beating them. So
we'll have to look into that. That'll have to be a stat correction. What are your biggest takeaways when you look at this current UCLA team? I know we got into it a little bit with Matt. I mean, obviously you look at Nico Emalava. My biggest takeaway was that their offense is basically him running the football and breaking big plays, and their defense just hopes you don't score. I don't know how they're doing it. That's what I'll say. I don't know how they've won 3 games in a row. That's what I'll say. And I'll defer to the UCLA fan. Brad, how are they doing this?
They won because they have probably more talent than Maryland and Michigan State. That's for one. Penn State was lightning in a bottle. It was, no film on this team, on that particular team, and they were able to catch them off guard and get an onside and go up 10-0 and really just kept that momentum from there. And Jerry called a fantastic game and, took down, like Matt said, the $3 million man. I think it's a really cute story. I think it's awesome. The problem is they're not going to catch Indiana off guard. They know what they're dealing with. A team that has talent, that has a lot of confidence, and is going into this game expecting to win. And Indiana's not going to let that happen. And to be quite honest, I think the cute story kind of comes to an end. And Indiana takes care of business handily.
Yeah,
it's just the line. It was bad. The line hasn't been good since the Mora days. I mean, maybe that one team that beat LSU, like even then, like that O-line wasn't all that great. Yeah, it's not – they're not where they need to be to beat a team like Indiana. This is like the worst matchup for them.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment. The strength of their team on offense, at least from my dive into them, was their ability to run the football. Nico himself is 16th in the conference in rushing. He's also second in the conference in fumbles, which isn't great. But they rotate 3 running backs next to him, and all 3 of those guys are pretty much around the same production. Quasi Gilmer is their best receiver. He's got like 30 catches, but he's not exactly a red zone threat.
He's a stud. I don't know if you saw his video. He recreated the LeBron video where he's like jogging in the pool, and he's like, he's got different versions of LeBron's, and he eventually dives into the pool.
That was him?
That, yeah.
I do remember that. Was that through Bleacher Report? Back when like Bleacher Report was like,
yeah, something like that. He's a stud.
Yeah, he is a stud.
Yeah, you might see him on Sundays one day.
I can tell you what, he's going to see number 5.
Yeah. He's going to get his first taste of the league this week. I'll tell you that.
John Vaughns, the linebacker, leads the conference in total tackles. It's not a lot of solo tackles, but he's kind of in on everything. Chisholm is the other linebacker. He's a monster too. Those are the 2 guys that kind of clean everything up for them.
Yeah, John Vaughns, a former baseball player. He might still be a baseball player, but yeah, great athlete.
I was going to say, very much in the mold of, is it Bowditcher from Oregon?
Yes.
They have very similar stats.
Yeah, very athletic. Brother of Tyler Vaughns, if you remember that Sam Darnold team at USC. I actually played Tyler Vaughns in high school. He's a freak. Stud, played for the Colts for a little bit. For you Hoosiers out there, I'm sure you might know that name. Yeah, it's just not, and then that O-line. Shout out Sam Yoon, by the way. He went to Loyola High School, my alma mater, so shout out him. He's going to play starting at center for the Bruins. That O-line is just not going to hold up against this defensive line, just straight up. And that's really the main thing of why I say that Indiana's going to win this very handily.
The other problem for them,
Monday at the office, doesn't really matter what Jerry cooks up. The defensive line is eventually going to wreak havoc and break through and start dominating the game over time, and it's just going to be too much for them. And then you flip it on the offensive side, it's like the defense is like, it feels like they're a dam ready to break. And, it's the same guys that gave up 38 to New Mexico. Same dudes. So it's the talent is there, but it's not like, it's not like it's like top 25 level talent. Like it's like middle of the pack level Big Ten talent. Like they should be competitive level talent. And yeah, when Indiana has the ball, they're gonna score at will.
Yeah, it's been 7-8 weeks. UCLA is last in the conference in sacks and tackles for loss, and they're last in the conference in interceptions. They don't get after the quarterback, they don't create negative plays, and they don't turn the ball over. It is a recipe for disaster against an Indiana offense that feasts on explosive plays and exposing your weaknesses. It's I think obviously part of the thing that gives this Indiana defense trouble is a mobile quarterback. Nico has the ability to make plays. We saw what Childs was able to do when he got loose once at the end of the game. Nico's fully capable of making plays like that. I can see this being almost a similar situation to that Michigan State game where they just execute at a really high level, and you see the ceiling of this UCLA team just not being able to keep up with the floor of Indiana. But I think that's best case scenario is Nico kind of goes nuts with his legs, because it's going to be difficult with their trouble on both lines to keep Indiana both out of the backfield and to keep Indiana from pushing their defense 2-3 yards back at the snap. Like it's, and the other thing I wanted to point out, Brad, and Matt pointed this out as well. They like to use their kick, like create plays with their kicking game. They're about 60% on the touchback percentage, but they're really good at covering kicks. They don't allow a lot of really big returns. There was a couple fake punts. Talked about the onside kick. That's something that Signetti had talked about, the fake punt. So they use special teams as a weapon. It's a really interesting coaching staff, right? Like I find myself rooting for those guys, but I echo your sentiment. Like it's a cool story. It's a really cool story, but they're running into a buzzsaw this weekend. There's no way to get around that.
Yeah, it's going to be very similar when they go to Columbus as well. Yeah, and it just sucks. And it really, it's not even any it's not Sean Foster's fault. It's really like Chip Kelly's and Martin Jarmon's and a bunch of people that came before them. And yeah, like they have the talent there. It's just not enough, right, to keep up with what Indiana has, which is a team comprised of possibly eight-ish draft picks just this year, right? And it's just gonna be a tough matchup for them. They're probably gonna try something on special teams, try to make it interesting. They're probably gonna try to take the ball and then maybe onside like they did against Penn State. We'll see. I'm sure Cignetti's going to be on the lookout of any vulnerabilities they might expose from us on the special teams game. So I'm sure we're going to be all over it. I'm super excited to go there this weekend and kind of watch an ass kicking of my team. And yeah, I really hope the UCLA wears the gold pants. If they wear the white pants, I'm going to freak out. Like that, like they got to wear the gold pants. They have to wear the gold pants on the road this weekend. They have to.
That's too funny. Well, regardless of how we feel like the game's going to go, there are still keys to success, Brad. And the first there are. The first key to success is to treat UCLA like a 3-0 team, and that has not been an issue from anybody who's spoken publicly from this team. Cignetti mentioned it in his Monday presser. He mentioned it to the team. Omar Cooper and Stephen Daly and Carter Smith spoke to the media today. They all expressed the same sentiment. They're not even watching film of UCLA from the first 4 weeks of the season. They're strictly watching the last 3 weeks. They have their eyes on this UCLA team the exact same way they should. You still got to do it. Go out there, treat them like they're 3-0 and take them seriously, and don't give them an opportunity to build momentum in this game when they really shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, because the talent is there, and you give this team momentum, they're going to continue to build off it. They're a team that is probably top 10 confident teams in the country right now in terms
100%.
of reading and what they can do. They're undefeated since the retool. You keep feeding into that, the key is really just break their will, right?
Yep. Key number 2, contain Nico. Obviously, we've talked about it ad nauseum. If that kid just gets out and gets loose and starts doing what Colton Joseph was doing, like Indiana's going to start to have some problems. Now, again, Indiana's got too much offensive firepower in this game. They've also allowed 2 offensive touchdowns once. That was to Colton Joseph, who broke 2 long runs. Nico, for as athletic as he is, and he's a very good athlete, is not running 4.3.
He also has a bruised knee. He got hurt in the Maryland game.
And a concussion or whatever he was dealing with, or potential, or I don't know. But that's a dude. Like, we watched them when he played for Tennessee against Ohio State last year. Like, that dude cracked 2 helmets in that game. Like, he's a tough kid, so he's going to play.
Yeah.
They got to contain him, and he's not really going to kill you with the arm, but he will beat you with the leg. So you got to stay in your rush lanes.
Nico can kill you with the arm. I wouldn't be surprised to see them attack over the top, which has been a vulnerability from the Hoosiers throughout this year. I could see them trying to send Quasi Gilmer on a seam route and try to get him open, see if they can catch our safeties off guard. I can see that happening. But is that sustainable for their success throughout the entirety of the game? No. You saw it against Oregon. You saw it against Illinois. They both exposed it. Didn't matter.
Happened once. Key number 3, stay alert on special teams like we just talked about. Watch out for fake punts. We haven't talked about a fake field goal, but we can't rule that out either, although they have a really good field goal kicker. I'm sure you can speak to that, Brad.
Yeah, Mateen Magani, he's nails. Money bags. Money bags.
And he's got a big leg, too. He's hit from 54 this year.
Yeah. Cal transfer.
And then be disciplined in kick return as well. Like I said, they're at about a 60% touchback percentage, but they're really good at covering kicks. They're forcing you to return kicks. So just be disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Key number 4, dominate in the offensive trenches. Like I just pointed out, UCLA is the worst team in the conference at getting after the quarterback, at creating negative plays, and at turning you over. There's no excuse for the offensive line in this game. They have to dominate.
100%. It's just a bad matchup for in the trenches for this team. Like they don't have the Latus or the Bars, or UCLA doesn't have those guys right now. They might in a few years, maybe, but they just don't have it right now, and it's just a tough matchup. Our guys are better than their guys, especially in the trenches. Skill guys are pretty decent at UCLA. Good quarterback, good corners. Roderick Pleasant's having a great year at corner. He's going to be probably matched up on Surratt or Coop, but he can't do both. So they'll be exposing him in many ways, and yeah, I'm expecting a big beat down on Saturday.
And then key number 5, show answers to losing Wyatt. We talked about it a little bit. The way he was able to unlock Indiana's defensive versatility is something that they're not going to be able to directly replace, but they've got enough talent across that line and in that room where fundamentally, while the scheme may change a little bit, we shouldn't see too much of a dip in production from this defense, especially with the way they get after the quarterback. Now, that's not to say like they're not going to miss Wyatt. They are. Like, he's an excellent player. He fits so perfectly in this scheme and allowed them to do so many different things, especially with like simulated pressures where you really didn't know where people were coming from because of his ability to drop back in coverage. But at the same time, like I said earlier in the show, Brian Haynes is a mastermind. Kurt Signetti is an evil genius. Like Pat Kuntz and Buda Williams are like psychopaths. Like they're gonna have these guys ready to play and they're gonna have solutions figured out because like it is next man up mentality. Like as much as the injury hurts, like you have to move forward. And so I'm very curious to see the ways that they counter that.
I agree. I think, oh man, in terms of like personnel wise on the defensive line, I see like Ndukwe, Turvey, and Andrew DePepe again involved. DePepe had that sack early in the year, so I threw him in there. He's the sophomore, number 42. But yeah, Turvey has gotten snaps on this team before, and Ndukwe is kind of that rising edge star that we've been kind of highlighting over the course of the offseason, and really hasn't gotten his time to shine just due to kind of Wyatt and Daly just being absolute studs. And obviously you're not really going to take Kamara out too often. So it really allows those three guys to potentially have opportunities to create an impact on this team and kind of find their way. It's kind of a beautiful thing because DePepe and Ndukwe are going to be on this team next year, and it gives them opportunity to really get some legit game reps and get them ready to be impact guys next year.
Full blown echo that sentiment. I think you said it might get a little dangerous when we get to this point. Do you have a score prediction? Wait, can you tell me the over? Can you tell me the point total first?
55.
Yeah.
I like 42 to no. 49, 7 touchdowns to 14.
49-14. I'm going to say 45-10. But I think it's like 10-10 in the second. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like they score all their points in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
It's just
Jerry has
the more physical. Like they have a really good scripted drive, which like it seems to be that he's a really good offensive coach, not just like a flash in the pan type, like fire up the guys. Like it seems like they actually respond to his play calling. I don't know. Nico's got enough athleticism, enough juice, enough wiggle, enough playmaking ability where like it's hard for me to see that kid getting shut out. You know what I mean? And that offense being shut out. But at the same time, like this is a really hostile environment against a really good defense, against a really good secondary, coming off a week where they admittedly did not play their best. Like I absolutely would not want to be playing this Indiana team after that week. And I think they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. And I think the defense especially is going to be really pissed off. And I think they're going to be upset that I even predicted they would score, UCLA would score 10 points on them. Like I think this could be a tone-setting defensive performance because of A, the way they played last week, and B, because people think that they're going to fall off a little bit with the Wyatt injury. Like I'm so excited to go watch this team play in person, Brad. Oh my God.
The gold helmets, they look good in person, Keezer, let me tell you. Have you ever seen the gold helmets?
No, I've never seen UCLA play football in person.
Wow.
This will be a cultural experience for me.
I will give them this credit. Best uniforms in the sport, bar none.
Yeah, the Indiana uniforms, and that was a conversation going. Somebody was like, "Don't be a crumb bum" to me, basically on Twitter today, and I was like, "You don't take in my content for 30 seconds before you tell me how to." But no, I didn't hate the sentiment. But like my biggest problem with the Indiana jerseys is the material. Like I honestly like the plain look. I like that we wear crimson at home and cream on the road, and I think the block eye is clean. Not the block eye, but the IU that they use in that font is clean, and like I'm cool with it. I'm fine having very basic uniforms. I just don't want to look like they're wearing a potato sack.
Yeah. I agree.
And it's frustrating. And I know it's kind of an Adidas thing to make it like you look at Stephen Daly. Like I can't tell if it's Stephen Daly or Hosea Wheeler from like the front sometimes if the number isn't pulled down because the 8 looks like a 0. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're not the same size. And that's like a stupid thing, but it's
I
the little
hear you.
thing.
I hear you.
And then if you look at the uniform combos Indiana used to have, you look at the uniform combos that Adidas schools have across the country, and you're left wanting more. And I know there's a lot of like independent license stuff with Indiana, and you have to look at the entire apparel apparatus and not just what Adidas is offering. But if you look at what Adidas is offering for Indiana, like it's garbage. Shit sucks. So
Yeah.
except for the playoff gear last year, that stuff was so clean. I will give them credit for that.
Here's how I would fix it. I would go with we gotta go with an all red look, so go red pants sometimes.
I don't think so.
All white
I don't
helmet.
need color rush red. I really don't.
All white helmet. You're not hearing me. All white helmet. They need a blackout, and they need a throwback. Maybe the throwback and the blackout are the same. Who knows?
Who knows?
I would go Antoine Randall throwback personally. The black helmet, the red tops, and the white pants. I think that's a clean look. And then like an all black, like really all like black helmet with the block IU would go crazy hard with the red and white trim.
You're upsetting a lot of people right now, Brad, but you're speaking my language. I like it.
Who am I upsetting?
The older heads who like the classic uniforms. I like the black uniforms for basketball too. Sue me. Sorry.
Huh?
I said I like the black uniforms for basketball too. Sue me.
I think they're cool. Yeah.
I don't want to talk Indiana basketball. Do you want to run the slate?
Yeah, we can run the slate.
Actually, wait, no, I do want to talk Indiana basketball for 30 seconds. I want 30 seconds on Indiana basketball. And here's the only thing I care about. I'm excited to watch them play this year. I'm reserving all judgment on this staff until I watch them play at least 5 conference basketball games. I'll have 0 takes on recruiting, 0 takes on play style until they play 5 Big Ten conference games. And then I'll be able to kind of assess the first whatever. But until they put meaningful basketball on the floor, it's hard for me to get upset about anything going on in this Indiana basketball world. And they just shot like the most threes they've ever shot in since I've been associated with the program. So cautious optimism, and I'm going to leave it at that, Brad.
Yeah, I think cautious optimism. Yeah, they look good. It's funny you say that because we're going to be talking about basketball in the bye week extravaganza. We're bringing on Coach Pundit again, everyone's favorite. And it's going to be
we're going to make him pronounce Trent Sisley's name correctly. Don't worry.
But then after that, we're probably not talking about him again until January. So get your punches in. It's a football school now.
It is a football school.
All right, time for the slate. Top 25. Let's take a look. Ole Miss at Oklahoma. It's going on at the same time on ABC, on the same time as Big Noon. Oklahoma is a -4.5 favorite at home against the Rebels. It's a 54-point total. Who do we like?
If everyone could be like Curtis Rourke and just magically play perfectly fine with a busted up thumb, I'd probably take Oklahoma, but I have no idea. What was the spread?
4.5 for Oklahoma. I like Ole Miss in this game. I think Ole Miss is something special, Bruin. I know they lost last week, but
I kind of like Oklahoma. I don't like when I don't know. Oklahoma's playing at home, right? Obviously, because they're favored. Yeah. I like home teams in college football in those environments. I don't think that Ole Miss team is anything special. I think all those Lane Kiffin teams have issues, and I think that half his mind is in Gainesville, or at least listening to offers.
We'll see about that. South Florida at Memphis. I bring this one up because I think it's legit college football playoff ramifications.
Memphis lost last week.
These are probably the 2 best group of 5 teams.
Memphis lost last week, right?
Yeah, but if they can make up for it with a home win over South Florida, all of a sudden, like they win that conference.
I feel like
in that race.
I feel like a Memphis win eliminates the group of 5. Is that wrong to think?
Group of 5 gets an automatic.
Oh, they get an auto bid?
It's 5 auto bids.
Are you sure?
The 5 highest ranked conference champions get auto bids. Yeah, it's still a thing. I wouldn't have brought this game up if that wasn't the case.
I mean, I don't know. To me, it just seems like
we're speed running. User, give me a pick. God
if USF, give me USF. Give me USF. Sorry.
Right. Give me USF as well. Missouri at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's 2.5 point spread, 52 total.
Missouri at Vanderbilt. This is another guy who, where is Eli Drinkowitz's focus at? Because his name's being floated for the Penn State job. His name's being floated for the Florida
same
job.
Thing about Clark Lee.
Yeah, but no, you're right. I guess that's a good point. Man, that threw off my entire thinking of this game. All right, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this one, Brad?
I like Missouri.
You like Mizzou?
I'm just in a bit where I just don't pick Vanderbilt.
All right, well, I'll take Vanderbilt.
I'm branding myself right now.
Give me Pavia and the boys at home.
Yeah, I'm being a hypocrite by just not picking Vanderbilt.
Let me hand up real quick and apologize to Vanderbilt, because when Pavia made his comment, and they didn't follow through, they went and lost to Alabama, right? But when he made those comments about being able to go in and compete with Alabama, I kind of poo-pooed him as like, yeah, whatever, you guys don't have the horses to compete for a national title. And here Vanderbilt is like right in the thick of this thing, 8 weeks into the season.
In the playoff race, right
I'll put my hand up. I was wrong. Shout out to Vandy, shout out to Pavia and coach. Is it Leah? Lee? Mm-hmm. Shout out to Coach Lee. The Vandy guys. They're doing it.
Uh-huh. Damn right. Who else we got? We got A&M at LSU. Honestly, I don't even want to preview this game. A&M. All right. LSU stinks. I don't even think there should be.
Agreed.
There's too many.
Although A&M might stinks too, because they just got pushed by Arkansas.
Yeah, there's too many ranked SEC teams.
Agreed. It is crazy.
Watch Texas lose to Mississippi State this week.
That would be Sam West legacy game.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, he's gonna come back next year.
Boomerang.
Yeah, literally, he's gonna boomerang. All right, Big Ten time, real conference. No Friday game this week. Sad, super sad.
I stared at the slate for like 3 hours trying to figure out a way where Indiana was going to be the CBS game, and that was when I thought CBS was the second pick, and I couldn't get there at all.
No, we got FS1. We got Northwestern at Nebraska. Nebraska 7.5 point favorite. 43 total. Ugh. Gross.
I like Northwestern. There, I said it.
I like Northwestern too. I'm gonna pick Nebraska. They're at home. I'm gonna do Corso. Nebraska close. All right, Rutgers at Purdue.
God.
In West Lafayette. Rutgers is a 2.5 point favorite. 58 total.
Give me the Scarlet Knights, baby. Let's go.
Are you rah-rah? Are you rah-rah?
Are you rah-rah? We'll be with Rutgers' favorite son this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Illinois at Washington. Interesting one.
I love this game.
I think uniform game. Orange on purple. I love it.
I think Luke Altmaier might be in trouble in this game. That's what I think. And I have no idea how Washington's pass rush is. I'm going to say Washington gets it done.
They're good enough to be up 3-0 on Ohio State for almost like 20 whole minutes. So, yeah.
I'm going to say Washington gets it done, Brad.
Yeah, I think I like the Huskies too. Minnesota at Iowa. That's the CBS game this week in Kinnick. Iowa's an 8.5 point favorite. 39.
Iowa's going to whoop them. Gronowski might throw a passing touchdown in this game, Brad. You know, there's no Iowa fans watching this, obviously, but for all the Iowa fans out there that are like, if Gronowski played in the last 5 minutes, like we would have beat India. The guy hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since the UMass game. He was not driving down on Indiana's defense and scoring. It just wasn't happening.
No. With that being said, I like Iowa.
Yeah, that being said, I love them in this game. Absolutely love them. I like them. I like them to win. I like them to cover. I like them to look good.
It's Iowa. They're gonna figure it out. Like they're a weird bunch. That school. There's scary hours.
What was Matt saying about Minnesota losing by 13 to Cal?
Yeah. Bad for the conference. Not
good for the conference.
Not good for the conference. FS1 at 6. We got Wisconsin going to Oregon. It's a 33-point spread.
God, what a brutal stretch of schedule it is for those Oregon Ducks.
Talk about it.
You talk about a fan base that literally has nothing better to do than think about their loss to Indiana. Like, holy shit, Rutgers then Wisconsin back to back.
They're playing Wisconsin this week. Like, what?
We're just gonna keep hearing from them. Like, it's that is a fan base that has not been able to let go, which has been pretty funny.
As a gambling man, Oregon's officially on wagon watch after losing the Indiana game. Like, they're just gonna blow.
They're gonna kill everybody. Yeah, like, for sure. They're going to try and push those FPI numbers up above. I mean, they're already up above Indiana right now, which is
already
crazy.
In the playoff. Like, they don't need to do it. They have the brand. Like,
no, they're going to, though. The last thing Dan Lanning wants to hear is another question about simulated pressure or what Indiana did. Like, they might try and put up 100 points in this game.
Yeah. And Wisconsin just can't score. So, good luck beating Oregon with that strategy. The total is 44.
It's gonna be 44-0.
Oh my god, they must have like the team total over for Wisconsin like 6.5. That's insane. NBC, we got the Michigan Bowl. We got Michigan at Michigan State rivalry game in East Lansing.
Wait, what's the 3:30 game? I'm sorry, it went right over me. That's
Iowa, Minnesota.
Iowa. Oh,
Iowa, Minnesota's on CBS.
They got railed.
Yeah, it's a tough Big Ten slate.
Tough slate. No Ohio State this week is.
And no USC.
Yeah.
So that makes it difficult. Who do we like here? Is this a spot for Jonathan Smith to maybe get some likings from the alumni base?
It's in Michigan. It's in East Lansing. It's a night game. Those guys are gonna be rowdy. They're gonna be confident given the way they just played against Indiana, which they should be.
And just watching tape on what USC did to Michigan.
USC.
It's a 14-point spread.
Me and you didn't get a chance to talk about USC and Notre Dame, but that was one of the most disgusting football games I think I've ever watched. You want to talk about a team that had no desire in winning? That would be the USC Trojans. That's honestly something I wish I asked Matt about. That was such a piss poor effort. Their offensive execution in the second half of that game was horrendous. To call yourself an offensive head coach and to be this like top offense in the, and I get it, like you're playing in a tough environment, whatever. Horrendous. They gave away that game. It was an absolute tragedy. That being said, Notre Dame's really fucking good. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're talking Michigan State.
Sorry. No, I like Michigan. I like Michigan to beat them up.
I'm gonna
go. This is the team that just lost at home to UCLA.
I just like Aiden Child's legacy game. Fuck it, you know. Sharon Moore hot seat.
Future Indiana quarterback Aiden Child's legacy game.
Oh my god, get out of here! Not happening. All right, that's the slate. It's fun.
No, he would back up.
Glad I won't be missing much as I get, as we're perusing around Bloomington. So.
We'll watch the Hoosiers and we'll watch baseball at night.
Yeah, no, seriously, game 2.
Tough slate, tough Big Ten slate. I'm glad. It does actually honestly make it nice we're on early. I'm excited to have a very classic Bloomington, Indiana tailgate experience. My first experience at Indiana, again, I talked about this a little bit over the weekend, was a 12 o'clock kick against a top 10 Penn State team. And at 11:45, the entire tailgate lot was walking away from the stadium to go back to take a nap so they could party again on Saturday night. Nobody went to the game.
Yep.
It's going to be a much different experience this time.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be electric. Can't wait. Just really looking forward to getting to Bloomington. And, and now I'm just kind of just waiting on the edge of my seat for this new outro music that we have.
Yeah, we do. We do have an outro. We got an outro. I want to clean up some things in the chat. Armin says they beat Michigan State by the same margin, 38-13. 6 seems very aware they're 3-0. I think 42-28. SoCal Hot Sauce, shout out SoCal Hot Sauce, says the D scores this week 56-14.
I like it. You just added a touchdown to my score.
Yeah.
My best. Me and SoCal. Great minds.
And then the next time you see Brad and I, well, I guess we'll be dropping videos all week on YouTube like this. We'll repurpose this stuff and those will drop as clips. But the next time you see Brad and I, we'll be together, actually, probably.
Mhm.
That's the exciting part. That's exciting.
That's the exciting part. I haven't seen you in years.
Brad, I haven't seen you since
Person.
we graduated.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Been that long.
That's kind of crazy. We've been doing this podcast
Right?
for like 2 years, and I haven't seen you in person in a while.
Yeah.
So it'll be good to catch up.
I'm pumped. Can't wait.
I mean, catch up, but I don't know.
You can follow us at Indiana VOCFB. You can follow the Voice of College Football on all platforms at the VOCFB on Twitter. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Indiana at the Voice of College Football on YouTube. If you're watching over on Twitter, on the Sigs Inside Twitter account, hop on over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, jump in the comments, all that good stuff. You can follow me on Twitter at Alec Keyser. You can follow Brad at Bradley_Loomis8. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're all over the place. We're doing a bunch of things. Like I said, we'll have a bunch of content coming out this weekend. Be on the lookout for that. Yeah, the next time you see us, we'll be in Memorial Stadium. I cannot wait. Enjoy the outro music. Shout out to the boys, Wave, Nick Scroll, Signar, the intro, 1621, the outro, the sweet sound of Butter Symphony. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Go Hoosiers.
Vegas bombs at Roy's, baby. Let's go. Let's get after it.
We'll be playing the hit.